3, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the land of bureaucrats all the way down to a dog beach in South Carolina. That's where Tyler is.
That's right. I was in the car for 8 hours today. I am on about my 3rd Celsius just to keep myself going with enough energy for the show. I might have a heart attack, but you're right, Kevin. I am in the South. So it's time to lock in, everybody. We're going to have a great matchups, some awesome bouts to talk about, man. I'm fully in now. I'm fully a UFC guy. All right, I'm excited for this one.
Crocodile Dundee Tyler there. And on our 3rd mic, ready for his first time, long time UFC preview video with Run the Seam Show. Please welcome Karan.
Thanks for having me, guys. Happy to be back. I feel a little jealous right now. I feel like I should go get a hat myself because you both look so good with your hats on.
If you have a hat you want to put on, we will wait and we will banter while you put on a cool hat.
I don't know if I have a cool hat, but I feel like I should put one on. So I think I'm going to go get one. But you guys go keep doing your thing. Yeah.
Yes, go put on a hat.
I'll keep going through the script here. So just to set the stage, UFC 327 takes place this Saturday night at the Kaseya Center in Miami, Florida. The main event features Jiri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg for the vacant light heavyweight strap. The entire card can be streamed in the U.S. for free with a Paramount Plus subscription. However, as the event will take place in the Buccaneer State, you can always try your luck on the high seas, matey. Hit me up in the comments if you need that Russian link.
Boo!
One last bit of business to get out of the way. This video is sponsored by no one. We here at Run the Seam Show are beholden only to our viewers, our 50 cherished subscribers. Nary shall worry about sponsored content in our videos, at least until Ridge Wallet comes knocking. I'm powerless against their RFI blocking technology. Next slide.
That's beautiful. All right, wait, no, hold on. Shameless plug of the show before we get really into it. Well, all right, wait, no, time out. He's back. What's the hat? What is it?
Nothing fancy. Like I said, I don't have a Crocodile Dundee hat like yourself. It's just like a Patagonia hat. I don't have anything cooler, so sorry to disappoint, but I felt like I had to join in. If you both are wearing hats, I feel like I should too.
Should have taken the hats off while you were gone.
Remember, kids, always say yes to peer pressure. Yes. Okay.
Agreed.
But nah. Okay. Karan, I was about to do some shameless plugs for the show to get us started. Kevin hates how long this intro is going, and I can see it. No, but for the show, this will also be the first show. If you are listening, not watching for the first time, that'll be because this will be our first episode that we got on Spotify, guys. So yeah, we are diversifying our stuff around a lot. And also, we're going to plug this at the end. We are going to have a giant draft day episode as a special presentation with some very special guest stars. So make sure you guys like and subscribe so that when we get those ones updated, you'll be the first to see it.
It is NFL draft.
What did I say?
You said draft, but these are UFC fans, so you might want to specify there's a war going on and everything. NFL draft.
I said that Rob Schneider's probably. Did you guys see what he said, by the way?
Rob Schneider. Oh,
where he said that, and this is just like, this is apolitical for me to comment on this because of how crazy a comment this guy said. He said that people need to just accept war and we should reinstall the draft. This man is like 60 years old.
Rob Schneider is
a
warhawk.
Rob Schneider.
All right. So, yeah, solid card. Even though over the weekend, the co-main event title bout was taken off the card due to an injury suffered by flyweight champion Joshua Van, that fight has been rescheduled to UFC 328, Chimaev versus Strickland. So, without further ado, we're going to be looking through, there's 12 fights on this card. We're going to be hitting 9 of them, the ones you see here, and I think we'll get right into the first fight. So, in the second fight of the night, we have an Unktoberfest brawl that promises to deliver fireworks or frustration. For winning the Ultimate Fighter in 2013, there's going to be a short monologue for you. In 2013, as a middleweight, Kelvin Gastelum moved down to welterweight and went 4-2. However, issues with the weight cut forced him back up to middleweight, where productive 2018 earned him a shot at interim gold against Israel Adesanya in a fight that was actually just inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. Fortunately for the gas heads out there, Kelvin has since gone 4-6, including 2 losses against Philly fighters, Sean Brady and Joe Pyfer. So a little tidbit for you, Ty. Now, across the octagon is another seasoned vet with a similar career trajectory. Vicente Luque won 14 of his first 16 UFC fights in a ruthless welterweight division. However, he finds himself the runner-up in 6 of his last 8 bouts, with Luque finding finishes in 14 of his 16 wins and Gastelum having never been KO'd. Something's got to give. Tyler, Karan, what you got?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Kevin. This was one of the ones that I did not dive that far deep into. But I mean, it's like you said, just looking at this is going to be the Unk Bowl. And I think I remember watching Luque's one highlight where he went down against Alvarez. He really was starting to see the age in him where he just wasn't able to hang in there as long. But that was also because of the fact that, you had, how old is Alvarez again? Do either of you know off the top of your head?
No.
No.
Not
Okay,
sure.
well,
Probably
I
like
just
our age.
remember that it was a slow fight and, it wasn't as exciting. It was kind of like a lot of the fights were for 326. That being said, I'm going to just go with Vegas on this one and take Gastelum, but I'm also going to say it's definitely going to be a decision because I think it's just going to be a slow, uninspiring bout, to put it.
Yeah, I think that Tyler summed it up well. Over watching Vicente Luque over the past few years, he used to be a really exciting fighter, known for his do or die attitude. Both these guys, actually, they're the type of guys that'll go into the fight and just kind of throw caution to the wind. And both of them have been known in the past for their chins. Like they're both extremely tough. But to Tyler's point, I have seen Vicente Luque take a ton of damage over the years, and his chin just doesn't hold up the way it used to. And Kelvin Gastelum, the dude's a fridge, right? That's what people call him. The guy's thick. He can take these big shots. I don't know if I see Luque knocking him out. And Kelvin's the bigger guy. I mean, let's just be honest. I think that this fight, to Tyler's point, is probably going to end in a decision. And if it does end in a finish, I could see Luque getting like a Darce choke. He has like 4 or 5 of those in the UFC. But I'm with Tyler. I'm going to ride with Gastelum. The guy's a tank. He's extremely tough. And as long as he makes weight, I think he can win this fight.
Yeah, and this fight is at middleweight, so Vicente's moving up a weight class for this. And yeah, Kelvin in his last fight missed weight by 6 pounds, I believe. So he's been relegated to middleweight. I actually I said it's crazy to think a guy with a neck like Kelvin could get subbed, but he has 3 such submission losses on his resume. I am, however, going with Luque for a decision. I think he's going to be quick enough to get out of the power punches that Kelvin's going to try to set up. But yeah, no, his chin was cracked by Geoff Neal maybe 2-3 years ago when he spammed those uppercuts on Luque. I think he had a brain bleed. He unfortunately hasn't seemed the same since then. But yeah,
I can imagine why.
I mean,
And
a brain bleed's pretty serious.
The more that I look at this, the more that my stomach is churning looking at Gastelum, just looking at how I think a Muay Thai guy with a 75.5-inch range against a Mexican brawler is not a good matchup. But I'm going to still stick with my pick as I had it. I'm a gambling man, but it makes me a little bit more uneasy. I'll put it that way.
All right. Let's get to...
Lord, I was born
Thank you all for watching. Check out our channel for more MMA, football, and basketball content. On to the next fight. All right. Tatiana Suarez, a.k.a. the female Khabib versus Loopy Godinez. This fight is a top 10 matchup with title implications, which is the main reason why we're covering it. But it bears mentioning that after Alexa Grasso stole the show in Seattle a couple weekends ago, women's MMA is officially back. Now, do I think we're going to see another all-time finish here? No. Tatiana holds the only KO-TKO win between the two of them across 23 combined bouts. I do get the feeling, though, that both fighters are going to come out with a chip on their shoulder after getting buried on the prelims like this. It is also their first time fighting with that $25,000 finishing bonus on the line. So, what you thinking, Tyler and Karan?
Karan, I'd like to let you go first.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Jumping right in. I've watched both of them fight over the years, and Tatiana Suarez, I believe, had a long layoff. She had some injuries that she was dealing with, but in terms of grappling and wrestling, she's like up there with some of the most elite fighters in the UFC. When you look at her record, you see that she has 1 loss, and it's against Zhang Weili, and can't really blame her. Weili's a beast. Like, she's literally in the Hall of Fame for having one of the best women's fights in UFC history. Nothing to be ashamed of. I think she's also bigger than Godinez. You can see in the height. Obviously, they weigh in at a 115. But when you look at Tatiana Suarez, she looks significantly bigger. I think she's just going to bully Godinez. I think it's going to be a decision win, and I think she's just going to hold on to her. She might get the sub too. I mean, you can see in her last 5 fights, she has 2 submission wins. Totally possible, but I think Godinez is just going to get overwhelmed.
Okay. Thank you for that, Karan, but I'm also going to say this. I'm going to let you go first again next time, and if you say the same one as me because I'm about to agree with you again, then I'm going to just switch it up because we can't agree 3 times in a row. But
Okay.
that being
Okay.
said, yeah, look, one thing is, and not years, as you guys know, but I did my prep. I went back and watched these ladies in their past fights and everything, these champs. And the one thing that I noticed, they both have similar styles. You know, they both want to get like that grappling, get your control on the ground so that they can get some good ground and pound body shots in, preferably having control from the back, kind of. That's where they both thrive. Now, the one thing that seemed to me to be a constant, by the way, Kerr and I went back and watched the highlights of that Zhang Weili fight with, oh my God, dude, that was so cool to watch.
It's
Like,
awesome.
and it was just like, because, you know, Suarez did exactly what I just described. She came out hot out the gate, went at her legs, tried to get her on her ground. She had some decent control to start, but Weili was just able to like spin her around, get control back, and then turn it back up into a standing up bout. And it was crazy to see Weili do that. However, the thing is, I think that, like you hit it on the nail, Curran, Weili is going to be the exception, not the rule in that scenario. Because Suarez, like, just looking at her metrics here, this is a one-sided affair when it comes to, like, the reach, the height, everything. So Suarez is just going to come out explosive, which seems to be a consistent of her. She likes to really try to take you down immediately, like, establish herself as soon as possible. So, all that being said, I think it goes without saying, I'm going to go with Suarez, and because I think she's going to have control on the ground quick, I think it's going to be a submission in round 2.
Right.
Love that.
think I'm going with a KO TKO for Tatiana Suarez just because that payout's so nice there. I think it's possible
Yeah,
she
that
gets her
is.
down and just, maybe second, third round type finish. All
Like a
right.
ground and pound finish? Are you saying like she'll position her on the floor and start like raining down like elbows and punches? Like, is that how you
I
envision
think
the fight ending?
Yeah, I think maybe
Okay.
not getting her in like a crucifix, but just something where Godinez is tough. She
She
doesn't
is
get
tough.
finished,
She
but
is tough.
just
Yeah.
having her down, maybe kind of elbows like this to where the ref just kind of stops him because she can't defend
Yeah.
herself anymore. So
Right.
that's
Makes
That's a
sense.
my
good pick.
I like
thank you,
that.
man.
I like that. But I'm
KO
not going to
TKO.
switch.
All right. So now we're going into Kevin the Trailblazer Holland takes on Randy Rude Boy Brown. First things first, I did not screw up the dates for Holland's recent fights if you see them. He might be the most active fighter in UFC in the modern era, clocking 5 fights in a calendar year for the second time in 2025. He also did in 2020. These are 2 complete fighters. They've got KO losses, they've got KO wins, they've got submission wins, they've got submission losses. They got decision wins and decision losses. Their reaches, you clock that 81 inches and 78 inches. This is the longest combined reach of any fights on the card. It's tied with Johnny Walker and Dominick Reyes. So it's crazy.
Which is
Kevin
crazy.
Holland has the reach of
That
a
is nuts.
heavyweight, and Rude Boy Brown is not far behind him. Yeah, I'm going to go with my pick first. And a bit of a homer pick. We share a name. I always love watching Kevin Holland fight. I'm thinking he gets it done with either elbows in the clinch or maybe he gets his arm around Randy's neck, kind of like Jack Della Maddalena did against Randy Brown. So that's how I see this fight playing out. Curran, what do you think?
Yeah, I love that you touched upon the fact that Kevin has fought 5 times. Did you say in 2025? I assume that was because we're
Yeah,
only 4 months in. Yeah. Okay. So the fact that Kevin fought 5 times in 2025 and in 2020, I'm so glad that you pointed it out because yesterday I was actually looking at his record. My man has fought 23 times since 2020. That is crazy being locked in that octagon 23 times. Like, it's a scary thing to do. And, while he hasn't won all those fights, they're always exciting. The guy brings it every single time. He's a fan favorite for a reason. I mean, a little strange, but he's very entertaining to watch. He can knock you out. He can submit you. I'm going to go the same, man. I think Kevin Holland's going to get it done. I think he's going to knock out Randy Brown. And also, when you look at their schedules, like, yes, Holland has lost more fights out of his last 5, but he always bounces back. And I think this is going to be his bounce back fight. And Randy Brown got KO'd in his last fight. I mean, and it wasn't that long ago. That was what, 5, 6 months ago. If Kevin Holland touches your chin, like you said, with that long reach, he could knock you out. I mean, he's knocked out guys off his back, like Jacare Souza back in 2020.
Yeah.
That's crazy to do that in your guard. So I'm going with Kevin Holland, man. I think he's going to get it done. This is going to be such an exciting fight, and I'm so excited to see it. Tyler, what are your thoughts?
Yes. Okay. So with this one, I'm just going to go back and say I think that Brown kind of has a cleaner striking method. I mean, and I know that Kevin Holland is coming off of maybe having a chip off of his shoulders a little bit with those last 2 losses. And I'm speaking so much on the fly right now because Karan made me switch up last minute. No, it's okay. But according to this one gentleman on Twitter, I think both men will have moments, but I like Randy Brown to get a decision at UFC 327. There we go.
I hope that doesn't happen.
I was in a car for 8 hours, man. I don't know what to tell you. Kev keeps adding the prelims on me. It's fine. It is what it is.
True.
Okay.
Yeah, I will say I am thoroughly impressed with Tyler's dedication to this. Like when I'm preparing for this, I do not watch fight footage back. I got it in my head. I watched it at the time. I'm like, I kind of know what happened. All right.
Okay,
Anyway,
here's my strategy and how I have my notes. It's okay, I need to see how did this person win? What's their strength? And then what's the key to beating this person? Show me a loss. We'll tie that back in when we get to like Ulberg, because as we all know, his record. But yeah, okay. Karan, did we lose this man?
No, I'm still here. I'm just getting a drink.
Just changing hats.
No, yeah. I wish I had another cool hat.
Wait, we can do that.
All right, now it's Bellatoberfest.
Yeah,
as the 2-time Bellator flyweight champion, Patricio Pitbull takes on former Bellator contender Aaron Pico. Both of these fighters lost their UFC debut in 2025. So to me, this kind of feels like the UFC is trying to consolidate their losses and move forward with the winner. Aaron Pico, minus 305 favorite, but he has lost as a minus 585 favorite in 2019, a minus 700 favorite in 2022, and as a minus 170 favorite in his UFC debut just last year. So, but that doesn't say much because all of his other wins, he has been massive favorites as well. He kind of has maybe a bit of a glass chin. I think some people will say that he trains conditioning too hard. He kind of works himself too hard and then doesn't have enough to come fight time. He does his condition training with Khamzat Chimaev. He was looking great against Lerone Murphy before getting caught with that spinning elbow.
Dude, that was so cool to watch. I watched that highlight.
Yeah,
I was going to bring that up. That was so cool.
Yeah. I'll just give my prediction. I think he's going to be able to outwork Patricio. I think being 38 years old doesn't do anyone any favors. This guy, Aaron Pico, is younger than us. I think he's able to outwork him for a decision win.
Tyler, what are your thoughts?
Yes. So I'm going to go against the grain with this one, and it's a vibe pick. If you just, yes, we're going to have to bleep myself there. My brother just yelled about the Flyers game. That being said, what was I talking about? Okay, yeah, Kev, I agree with everything you just said. I think Aaron Pico looked good in that fight against Kennedy, and he definitely, had some insane reach on him, and it was cool to watch that fight. I think that these two guys do have some very similar styles, though, and that they can do kind of a switch hitter mentality between trying to get on the ground and have some control for a minute, but they don't need to stay there like some other fighters. They're just as clean or comfortable, getting up and throwing a couple jabs back and forth at each other on the ground. I just got to take one more minute, and I have it in bold in my notes. I want to say again, that spinning elbow came out of nowhere in that fight, man. It was like just a glitch in the matrix, and the next thing you know, he's down, and Kennedy is just standing there it was so cool.
Or Lerone Murphy.
What?
Lerone Murphy.
Murphy, my bad. Why do I? Oh, Kennedy. That was from
he got injured against Kennedy.
Yes, that was what I had there. Okay. The thing that is keeping me from taking Pico, the pregame conferences, Patricio Pitbull emphasized how he's wanted this so long, like to have this fight, and it's been like, I don't know, he's had like 5 years or something. Case in point, the Bellator thing. I mean, Kevin, they have that shared past with that. And then Aaron Pico's conference, it was just like laid back, kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna go out there and do my job, which I know is not like always a negative. But there was just something about it in that moment where I thought you should have been more hyped up. So I'm going to go on a vibe pick here, and I'm going to take Mr. Pitbull, and I'm going to go with decision.
I love it. I love it. And I'll say this to the spinning elbow. Kevin, I remember last summer, it was that same card where Carlos Prates also got that spinning elbow knockout. And I remember I was in the car driving back from somewhere to get back to my apartment to watch the card. And in our UFC group chat, I like sent a message and I was like, "Oh, how are these two fights going?" And you said like within 5 minutes, there's 2 spinning elbow KOs. And I was like, he's just messing with me. And I got back and I got on Twitter and literally you were like spot on. I was like, "Oh, I thought like Kevin was just like pulling my leg." No, 2 back-to-back spinning elbow KOs in which the opponents were flatlined like completely. Like I've never seen anything like that. And I'm so upset that I missed it live. But yeah, Tyler, that was awesome. I mean, whenever you see a KO like that in the UFC, it's just kind of they don't happen that often. Although I will say in 2025 there were quite a few, which is just so odd. But I feel like every year there's like 1 or 2 like spectacular KOs, and the fact that 2 happen on the same night is just insane. I'm gonna actually have to go with Tyler here. I'm gonna go with Pitbull, and the reason being, I mean, yes, he's older. I actually didn't know that he was 9 years older than Aaron Pico. That's kind of crazy. So he is towards the end of his career, but the guy's 37 and 8. Like he's been through some adversity and he has some insane power. I mean, Patricio Pitbull has knocked out Michael Chandler. The guy's a beast. He is like a little ball of muscle, and I think he still has it in him. And I would like to see him get the KO this weekend. I think it would be sick. Since he's been in the UFC, it's been a little lackluster. So I'm going Patricio Pitbull KO. I mean, I know the chances are slim, but I think if he touches Pico, I think he puts him to sleep.
Man, I want him to win now. You guys really, I'm still picking Pico, but
Yeah.
I'll this old boy will smile if Pitbull gets it done.
What's that?
This old boy will smile if Pitbull gets it done.
I think it'd be sick. It'd be cool, right? Like he'd get like a chance. Like if he gets a highlight reel KO this weekend, he could be in contention for a title fight if he gets another win. So I'd like to see him at least get that shot. I mean, I know he's on.
Yeah, he's been like he was 2-time Bellator champion. He lost the belt and then he got it back. So he has
he been in contention at any point since Bellator like kind of fused with UFC?
Well, so he got picked up by the UFC. Bellator went the way of the
Bellator still
dodo.
exist? I thought
they kind of like merged into PFL sort of.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the bottom line though is like the UFC kind of monopolized.
Yeah. The trust busters aren't doing their job. We'll say that without getting too political, without getting up Dana White's crawl. But yeah,
hey, dude, he'll send you to federal, you know what, prison. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Federal prison, man. We got you. We got one right there.
All right, let's go now. Nate the Train in the UFC, baby. I'm so excited for this fight.
Dude, I'm so happy you said that too. Oh my God, me as well.
So I got some of my favorite Cub Swanson and Nate Landwehr pictures here. These guys are consummate brawlers. Love watching them. Dude. I mean, I did think Cub Swanson retired 2 years ago when he got his win over Billy Quarantillo. I remember watching that down in Florida. But you know, this is just such a great fight, and Nate's been on he's had 2 fights where he went out on his shield. But he is still game as hell. I could not be more excited for this. Just Cub Swanson, OG in the fight game. He's got wins over Jeremy Stevens, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira. Nate Landwehr, I would describe him as a Randy Marsh versus Bat Dad type brawler. He cannot put on a boring fight. So perfect fight to kick off the main card. What's you thinking about it?
Honestly, like you said, the Unk Bowl earlier, I think this is the Unk Bowl. Cub Swanson being 42. Dude, he looks great for 42.
But he does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he looks great. And like the guy is a legend. Like he may have never become a champion in the UFC, but everyone respects him. He's always game, to your point, and he's fought the best. And, I haven't watched a ton of his fights live. But to your point, the guy always brings it. He's exciting. He's looking for the finish constantly. And to your point, Kevin, I think this is going to be a great fight. I'm going to go with Cub, and I think I'm biased just because I like him more, and the fact that Nate Landwehr, or I don't know how to pronounce his last. Is it Landwehr?
Landwehr.
Yeah. Okay. The fact that he's lost his 2 last fights by KO isn't super inspiring to like pick him or bet on him. But yeah, I think this is a great fight to kick off the card, like you mentioned, and I will definitely be tuning in.
Yeah, nah, man. I love this one. Is just, can we take a step back and how cool it is? We got the marauding brawler, the train, versus a high octane striker and killer Cub. This is what it's all about, dude.
I
And
made
like,
up those styles,
dude,
by the way.
I watched these guys' highlights, and right after I had to go back and watch that Don Fry like boxing match from the 90s against Nakayama, where they were both just like literally lighting each other's heads up. It was and, like, because that's how these two guys fight. Like, they just go at you, they ignore the pain, and they're so small. They got those quick jabs going in that it's going to be like just the peak what people tune in for. At least that's what I'm hoping, you know. And I don't think this fight's going to go to the ground, just watching how these guys like to attack things. I think at most it'll be like one of them is pinning the guy up against the edge of the ring, trying to get some body shots in, maybe get himself some respite and all that. And look, gun to my head here, boys. You got to want to take Cub because the man looks like a beautiful character straight out of Peaky Blinders right there. It's beautiful. I love it. And I know he's from USA, but yeah, he looks like him and Tom Hardy could be shooting up some good old chaps down the block or something like that. I don't know. Clip that. But I just, at a certain point, Cub's age is going to wear on him. However, the big thing is I don't think there's a chance that either of these guys have a head who's wired to allow for submission or a knockout. I just don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to go all the way to the end. So I'm going to take wow, I didn't realize this is basically a coin flip pick. But yeah, I'm going to take a decision. Give me Landwehr.
That's what I'm going for as well. I do think sneaky chance, you know, he stings Cub with something, then he jumps on his back and gets a choke because Cub Swanson has been choked out 6 times in his career. Now,
no shit.
44 fights, so like there's gonna be some chokes in there. But yeah, that does. I mean, Max Holloway finished him with a guillotine choke, the only submission win on Max Holloway's resume. Now this was back in like 2013 or something.
Who are we talking about?
That's Tyler's favorite, right? He loves Max.
Yeah,
We're working on it. We're working on it.
I forgot. Tyler's a Holloway denier.
I still I don't know.
We'll change that. We'll change that, Tyler.
Who is this? Who is this?
Let's see. We got we're going Cub, Nate. All right.
I'm backing Cub.
Okay.
I like how we got some different. It is nicer when everyone's agreeing and we're all, nodding heads with each other, but this makes it better for the show because at least hopefully there'll be somebody.
One of us does something. Yeah. Well, that means we're all going to go 50% still.
It's better than how things were going with college football for you and I, Tyler.
Yeah, Kev, after hate betting against UConn, I'm back in the red again. So here we are.
My DraftKings balance is actually at $3.50.
Not dead yet.
Get a pack of dogs.
I'm trying to make some crafty 10-cent parlays to get back on the feet. All right. Now we move on to another tantalizing matchup. I think, Karan, you'll agree with me here.
Yeah,
For the more casual UFC fans, it's hard to really capture Johnny Walker's essence. He broke his collarbone doing the worm in the octagon as a post-fight celebration. He pretends like he lost whenever Bruce Buffer announces his victories. He has a brother in the UFC heavyweight division, Walter Walker, who's riding a 4-fight win streak, all on heel hooks, 4 straight heel hooks. And might be the most athletically gifted fighter on this roster.
Yeah.
And then we have Dominick Reyes, knockout power, last chin, and he arguably, I don't even think it's arguably, he should have been given the victory over John Jones back in 2020. I think 14 out of 21 media outlets gave him that, so that was a robbery. Yeah, these are electric fighters. They've had their ups and downs in their careers. Both of them kind of trying to mount a comeback and make one last push for this title.
I love it, man.
Yeah. Karan, I'm going to let you say your thing, but before you do your thing, I just got to say, fellas, Johnny Walker's real name being Walker Johnny Silva Barra de Souza really tripped me the hell up. That's all I'm got. Okay. But Curran, you take it away with something that actually makes sense, please.
Hey, no, it's funny you say that too, because the first time I heard this guy's from Brazil and he looks like that and he fights the way he does, and his name is Johnny Walker, I was like, something doesn't seem right. So to your point, I looked him up and also, yeah, got a crazy long name.
It's all good.
He's got a crazy long name.
Look,
Yeah.
dude, what did you guys see any of that Johnny Walker versus Sang fight?
Yeah, I watched it live. It was in China, so it was like a morning. I think that fight actually took place like 10:30 a.m. on a Saturday. So I remember watching it. And he was a huge underdog in that fight because, like I said, it was in China. It was kind of supposed to be a showcase for Zhang Ming Yang. And yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a fluke maybe. The guy hurt his leg, but what were your thoughts on it, Ty?
Yeah, no, the one thing that I noticed was how, despite like how tall he is, Walker has this unique thing where he immediately likes to dive, like kind of the same thing like Suarez does. You know what I mean? He likes to get that grapple, and he does do a good job of having a lot of control on the ground. I think even when Zhang was able to stay on top when they traded blows early on in that matchup, eventually Walker continued to just do the same thing over and over, and it really did work a little bit. And then he started to do some theatrics a little bit with like how he was trying, not like monkeying around or nothing like that, but just like with his dodges, like he was just like bobbing, like, you know, like kind of doing a dance almost. And it was cool to see him play that mental game. And I saw him dialed in pretty far into the matchup, which was pretty cool to see. That being said, he looked great in that one, but I had to go and look back and see, okay, Mr. Walker, what does it take to beat this guy? So I looked at his fight against Ozdemir. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Uzdemir, excuse me.
You're close.
Yeah. And the thing that was going was Oz had a lot of punch power in that fight. You know what I mean? But he had to stay back because he had to keep avoiding those dives that were coming at him from our boy Walker. Walker using his legs with the added, Walker was ending up using his legs, to my surprise, halfway through that fight, just to kind of keep Uz at bay while he was trying to land some big, powerful hits on him. He eventually takes the advantage away by forcing Walker into the corner with a quick dash against him, landing some insane punches and eventually knocking out clean the first round. So, the thing that I noticed from that was the thing to beating Walker is to be that guy who can kind of like plant yourself and, you know, get some clean hits in him and then back away, and so that you can't be taken down. That's not Dominick Reyes. And one of the fights that I watched in his preparation for this episode was that one against Ulberg, which I'm going to talk about a little bit, where Ulberg just handled business against this guy. There was a methodical start with both of these guys, but, you know, Dominick Reyes wasn't really trying to connect heavily. He was trying to get him down on the ground. Okay, I'm going off long-winded here. Curran, you take over before I focus on Mr.
Hey, you made some great points, Tyler. I think that's well said. I'll say this. I think this is a really interesting matchup, and I think it's a coin flip. And the reason I say it is because both of these guys are tall and explosive strikers with good technique, but they both have glass chins. Like, they both get KO'd all the time. And so here's the thing. I think if we're looking at someone who's more controlled and measured and can land cleaner shots, I think Dominick Reyes is the guy. But Johnny Walker is so unpredictable. And I think, Tyler, that's kind of what you were getting at. Like, you don't know what you're going to get with him. Will he go for the takedown in the first 5 seconds when he doesn't need to? Sure. Will he throw a spinning, flying triangle? Probably. The guy is just so unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. And so
I see a lot of head kicks as I'm watching him too. You know what I mean? I'm getting way up there. Yeah.
He's really like athletically gifted. I mean, at one point, people were saying Johnny Walker was going to be the guy to beat John Jones because he had like a 3 or 4 fight win streak. One was like a flying knee, one was like a spinning back fist. There was a submission. There was some crazy finishes that he had, and people were like, "Oh, this is the guy to beat John Jones." But yeah, his fight IQ is just like awful. The guy is very, you know, like I said, he's unpredictable, but he kind of leaves his hands down. He like, for someone who's 6'6", he kind of like dips a little bit lower. He's putting himself in a position to take more damage. So honestly, this one is a toss up, but I think I'm going to go with Dominick Reyes just because I like the guy. I do actually think that he did beat John Jones, to Kevin's point earlier, and I'd love to see him get another comeback, man. I think Dominick Reyes is awesome. He's someone that's hard to root against, in my opinion. So I'm going with Dom.
Yeah, and Tyler, your analysis was it was a good one. It actually, so I'm going with Johnny Walker, but
Me too,
you
if
were
I
right
didn't make
about
that
him getting
clear.
caught against the cage. That's how Uzdemir got him, was cutting off the cage and stopping him there. Reyes could do that, I think he was very. I don't want to. A fighter's never afraid. That's kind of. I feel like that's us sort of putting our own like bravery in there, but I think he was very cautious against Ulberg, and so he was kind of just mirroring him, and then yeah, he ended up getting caught when he lost his train of thought. Man, Johnny Walker, very unorthodox striker. Some would call John Jones a pretty unorthodox striker. There's a lot of kicks and stuff. Dominick Reyes beat John Jones. I think he did. Man, I'm still going
Somebody's
Johnny
got to
Walker,
explain to me
but
what's
man,
going on here.
it's
How
a
do we
coin.
not know what happened in this fight?
It was
It was a
a
decision.
robbery. Yeah, it went to decision. I think
So we
the
know who
majority
won.
of people agree that it should have been 48-47 Dominick Reyes, but John Jones, the judges, I'm still waiting for Tyler to get burned by judges' scorecards. Like,
It's the
Well, it
one
has
worst.
to be a
pick.
fight that ends in
It's the
decision,
worst.
and I think a lot of the times I'm taking submissions or TKO for the shits and gigs of it.
Yeah. But one other last thing, and then Tyler, I think you still have to actually send in your pick for this. But they have 4 common opponents. Volk and Uzdemir, they both fought. He KO'd Johnny Walker. Dominick Reyes split decision beat him. Anthony Smith, they both beat him. Ryan Spann, Johnny Walker TKO'd Ryan Spann in 2020. In 2022, Ryan Spann TKO'd Dominick Reyes. And last, Nikita Krylov. Might be saying that wrong.
Yeah.
EUD beat unanimous decision beat Johnny Walker in 2020, and then Reyes KO'd him in 2025. So if you
Did
look at their
you do
common
you know?
opponents, Reyes has the advantage. But again, I'm sticking with Johnny Walker because I think it's a coin flip, and I'm picking who I'm going to slightly be rooting for. Even though I do like Dominick Reyes, I won't be mad if he wins.
I gotta jump in and say one other thing too that I think puts Dominick Reyes at risk. If you haven't noticed, Kevin, you probably have. He likes to throw body kicks, but he leaves himself wide open every time he does that, and that's resulted in him getting KO'd twice. One was against Jan Blachowicz, where Jan caught his kick. It didn't directly lead to a KO, but it led to damage, which then built over time. And then in the Ryan Spann fight, he got KO'd by like a jab or something like that. He always leaves himself open when he throws that body kick. And if he does that a few times against Johnny Walker, I could see that being his demise in this fight. So it is a 50-50, man. I think this probably will end up in a KO unless it turns into one of those fights where both fighters are afraid to engage one another. But uh, I don't know. I feel like at this level, they both need this win bad. They got to go for it.
People forget, man. Johnny Walker had a flying knee that almost took out Magomed Ankalaev. It was this close. All right, Tyler,
Really.
what is your official prediction for this
Yeah,
fight?
okay, so I gotta start with this, Kev. Tidbit about Krylov, who you mentioned before. He is a separatist in the Ukrainian war, so he is one of those rare, he actually accepted the Russians taking over his area, so that's unique about this gentleman. Not involved in this fight at
How
all.
did you find that out?
Now, that being said, there was, you guys both hit on it pretty heavily about how exciting it's going to be to watch, like what hopefully turns into like a high kick, knee kick, head kick matchup, which I'm very much looking forward to. I think, like I mentioned at the beginning, that Walker does have a little bit more of a advantage when it would be on the ground. I hope it doesn't come to that. And I think that Vegas kind of agrees with me that it's not going to come to that. When you look at the odds here, they're thinking TKO, KO is probably going to be the way to go. And I mean, just looking at these guys' fighting style, is going to just take one well-placed, back-footed spinning kick and then landing in a double split like a Jedi samurai. I don't know. But yeah. That was coherent in my head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with my gut and just take the more experienced fighter, and I'm going to predict a head kick KO by Mr. to end it in the second round.
All right.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
I do like Tyler's train of thought because, like, sometimes I have no idea who he's about to pick. So I do like him
Keeps you guessing.
consciously weighing both options. All right, here we go. now. So, Tyler, I know you've been traveling, so I'm not sure if you've been keeping up with Josh Hokit's
I
shenanigans.
wanted to talk about now. It wasn't today. He's been doing these antics all week. So
Yeah,
yeah,
to summarize, the Incredible Hulk confronted Carlos Ulberg, pulled a lightsaber on Jiri Prochazka, and described in graphic detail the human centipede he planned on making with UFC heavyweights. He also debuted his down bad Vato persona at the media scrum. He is not Hispanic. The MMA community has called Josh's antics everything from weird to weird and bigoted. Not me, though. I love a good heel. To be based is to be a slave. To be cringe is to be free. What do you think, Tyler?
that was so stupid. What the hell was that? No, okay. But I'm taking over from there. No, Kev, but I think this might actually be the battle of the heels, because, obviously Hokit's got that stuff going on, and you could tell when you were watching the pre-conferences for both of these guys, like their conference day, media day. What do they call that?
The
Media
press
day, right?
conference? Oh,
Press
media day.
conference, I don't know. But yeah, Curtis Blaydes was taking this pretty personally. He was saying, that's not what this is about. I heard he was going up to Jiri trying to get in his face, but Jiri was going to be professional and I'm going to be professional too, and all that. So seems like Hokit's definitely trying to be a bad boy in that sense. But the one thing I will say is I watched Blaydes one fight against Aspinall. He was getting booed in that match too. And I had to look that up. Apparently, the reason for it is, and you guys can correct me, he gets booed because of his fighting style is very much like slow wrestling. Now,
Yeah,
that
I mean,
doesn't track to me, because there's other fighters that we've talked about who are like that don't get, maybe I'm just too much of a novice to understand it, and I'll get there. But for that reason, it seems like it's going to be a battle on the ground, so to speak. Do you want me to keep going? Because I actually have a decent amount of notes about this.
yeah.
Okay.
Let it ride.
One of you guys can step in and interrupt me at any point, please, or else I'm just going to monologue and it's going to stop making sense. So I did watch Hokit versus Denzel Freeman, some of those highlights. Epic name, by the way. I almost didn't want to watch it after seeing the stats summary, because it was total strike percentage 0 of 8 for Freeman, 71 for 97 for Hokit. And I was like, okay, this was clearly one side, but then I watched it and I was like, all right, first round TKO. Hokit went straight for his legs, got him on the ground quickly, and then just went straight pound town on this poor guy, Mr. Freeman. He's definitely the most wrestling type fighter that I saw as I was getting to this point in my research. Obviously, there's other fighters that we've covered that are more wrestlers than him, but it was one of the things that I had written down in my notes, so I'm going to say it to you too. All right, what else do I have here? Mr. Blaydes versus Aspinall. I liked that fight, dude. I really did. It saw that it was a rematch fight from when Aspinall had the belt. The one thing that I picked up, Curtis, insane reach at 80 inches. And that was the fight where I realized, Kev, I'm monologuing. Go to Karan.
All right.
All right, I'll jump in. I mean, you were making good points, Tyler, but I don't really have much to say on this one because I've never seen Josh Hokit fight. I did see some of his antics this week, and I thought it was a bit strange. But look, this is a sport where you need to market yourself, and being a little bit odd goes a long way. I'll say this though: Curtis Blaydes is as good as anyone on the ground. He's a great wrestler, and if he postures up, he can land some very vicious, brutal strikes. I've seen him finish a fight against Alistair Overeem where he drove his elbow through that dude's forehead. It was very brutal.
Can I jump
I'll
in
spare
for
you the
1
details.
second talking about Blaydes? Can I jump in for 1 second? Then I'll give it right back to you. So, kind of to your point about him being better on the ground than anybody, I think he does prefer that, because one thing when I was watching him against Pavlovich and then against Uriel, I believe was the fights, he doesn't have the best footing. I know that sounds so bizarre coming from a guy like me, but I think his weight a little bit and just his fighting style, he does go down pretty quickly if somebody comes at him. So I think that he kind of prefers that on the ground wrestling mentality just because of that instance. But the one other constant that I saw that was kind of interesting and I think goes along with my theory is times when he would get pinned, like up against the edge of the ring, he was able to use like that extra brace to sort of like, stabilize himself a lot better and always get control of the fight and land some low body rib shots. So I think that that's one style that he might have an advantage against Hokit. But I don't know, Karan, what do you think? And
I'm with you, man. I will say this: Curtis Blaydes, and Kevin, you may have seen this trend too. In his biggest fights, he always just kind of flops. And the reason that happens is because he decides to stand and trade instead of going for the takedown. If he can get his opponent down, I mean, the man really can end the fight or at least control it. And I think in this fight, if he is controlled and measured and doesn't fight with emotion and goes for the takedown and is able to get it, I think he will win. But if he decides to stand and trade, I could see him getting KO'd.
Yeah, it's really Josh Hokit's path to victory involves grappling.
yes,
It can start with landing some good shots, but like it needs to go to the ground, and that's just where I think Curtis Blaydes almost has like he's got a second life built in. Like he's got if he gets caught on the feet and it goes to the ground, well, that's his element. You see it all like with Charles Oliveira when he gets clipped, he just falls to his back in the guard and like knows he's pretty comfortable there. I think, yeah, I don't see Josh getting it done. It's kind of crazy because he has been going crazy this week. So it'll be in one of those when trash talking goes wrong compilations if he doesn't get it done. I mean, if he does get the win, God help that crowd.
yeah.
At the press conference
No,
today,
it,
he
it
accused
makes
Curtis
it so
Blaydes
much
of
better,
being
though,
part of
in my opinion.
Pizzagate. Oh,
Oh,
at the
shoot.
press conference today, yeah, he said, "I'm like Ian Gary if I wasn't a fairy." He had some good
Oh,
lines.
man.
He had some good
Is
lines. He
I
said
don't know Ian Gary. Pause. I don't know this Ian Gary. Is he a gentleman who prefers?
he's a UFC fight. Another time, another
We
time.
got to unpack that another time, but he's
You
one of Kevin's
said, "I'm like
favorites.
We're
Derek
pinning that.
Lewis if I
Okay.
wasn't He said, "I'm like Derek Lewis if I wasn't clueless." He was hitting some fire, I will say.
Okay.
It made a lot more sense than yesterday's performance at Media Day. But okay, I've been thinking back and forth if this is true or not because I believe Curtis Blaydes had a lisp when he was growing up, and he's overcome it, but he like does a lot of charity work for that. I might be
Charity work for lisps.
mistaking that a lisp.
Speech pathology, yeah.
Yeah, a speak
Yeah.
pathologist. So anyway, when Tyler was like, "This is a battle of the heels," I'm like, I don't think Curtis Blaydes is a heel. But again, I might be misremembering that. Yeah, I have Curtis Blaydes getting it done by decision. Maybe he gets a ground and pound TKO. Tyler, I don't think you've actually aired in your
No,
pick yet.
I haven't heard out my pick. And look, taking a step back because my heart wants me to take this as a vibe pick because of the Hokit's antics. But God damn it, this is tough because it seems like a gambling trap. Um, we
Jesus
know
could
how to
walk on
control the
water, so
audio. We
God
know how
didn't
to
need no
control the
gam,
audio
dude.
now.
You can't be saying GD it. GD this, GD that. Oh, I'm Tyler. All right. Who are you picking?
I don't sound like that. But here's what it'll come down to. Hokit, we beat this into the ground, but they're both going to try to get a grappling advantage over the other and make this so I think because they're both similar styles, I think what it's going to come down here to is who comes out a little bit hotter. And in that case, I think I'm going to have to lean on the fatigue aspect. And this is going to be I'm looking at the odds now. I'm throwing myself out on a limb, but I'm taking Mr. Hokit by submission, round 3.
Ooh.
All right.
That'd be a big payout.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Good.
Kevin, you could put 350 on that, and if he wins it, get some money.
I'm not using my last dollar on what Tyler says. I mean, one of these is sure to hit though, which so
Put that 350, baby. Yeah.
That's
casting
right.
a wide net.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Shall we
Kevin,
go?
I would trust you with my last dollar.
Oh, all right. Well, I forgot to take
Wait,
this slide
by the
out.
way, Kev, pause and then just edit this. So you boys
I'm
know.
not going to pause it. It's too hard to do that.
What?
Just say what you got to say that people can hear it.
No.
All right, then tell me later.
God,
It's too hard to edit out something in the very middle. I'm going to forget.
do that all the time. Okay,
I'm
fine,
not you,
whatever.
man. All right. Here we go. So, co-main event
is
of
that?
the evening. Crack open your secret juice. It's time to get strong and jacked. I don't think the MMA community understands what is at stake Saturday night. We could get a fight card. where Johnny Walker, Paulo Costa, and Jiri Prochazka all get victories. Real goofball gauntlet, if you will.
Yeah.
And that's all I have. I'm excited, man.
Is he
I'm just
done
gonna
yet?
I'm picking Paulo Costa to just get a vint, but like I don't really think he's gonna win. But man, it's lighter man skill. He's coming up. He's coming up from middleweight to light heavyweight. Maybe we're due for a vintage Paulo Costa performance, but ever since he got humped by Izzy, man, he just has not been the same.
Okay.
Understandable.
Look, here's what I gotta say. I don't want this fight because looking at these guys' records since 2020, 14 combined cancellations.
Like, we don't even know if Paulo will make it. Yeah. We still got 2 days.
Dude, I'm seeing these reasons. Okay, let's start first with Mr. Murzakanov, who I just referred to as Mur in my notes. I referred to him as Mur in my notes, like from Impractical Practical Jokers, yeah. But yeah, no, 6 cancellations that started in 21, so over 5 years. Doping sanctions, opponents pulling out, and health issues. And I just have here, they seem bitch made in Tyler's eyes, but let's get into the actual fight stuff. So I watched him versus Reyes, and the one thing that I saw about that fight was Reyes had an insane 6-inch height advantage on Mur, who was only 5'10". Shorty. Must suck to be 5'10", shorty. And the one thing that I liked was Mur was able to evade those takedowns early on. He did this cool thing where he essentially caught Reyes' takedown attempts and backed up and just like planted himself. And that's one thing that I saw that was like pretty good, how he uses his size, like just such a low center of gravity, and like with his weight and everything, that he just plants himself and he's able to take away like any chance of somebody to take him down. Now here's where I went to Paulo Costa. Keep in mind that was already like 6 cancellations. Jesus. Okay. Side note, I'm realizing here, holy guacamole, he has pulled out of 9 matches. What the hell? Like, that was the only thing in my notes. So look, I don't know, maybe Paulo Costa gets it done, but I'm listening to the gambler in my brain. That guy don't deserve to win. Just give me Murzakanov. And I wish this fight didn't have to happen.
Co-main event. All right, Karan, save us, man.
I think this is going to be a barn burner.
You can't award people for not fighting. Like,
I mean, okay, to be fair, I don't know if this is a reward fight, man. Murzakanov is he's a straight up assassin, man. You know, this
well, in that case, Murzakanov is getting rewarded because never mind.
Okay, well, Murzakanov, the fact that this guy has 4 finishes in his last 5 fights, that's extremely exciting. I've seen him fight before, and the guy, I mean, he just has like the death touch. I don't know what it is. I mean, he doesn't look. I mean, he's 36, 5'10", and he kind of looks a little tubby. And that's coming from a professional couch potato. So obviously, like, this guy, he's Russian, probably from, I mean, let's see, his mustache is connected, so he doesn't look like he's from Dagestan, but he's a very, very dangerous guy. But so is Paulo Costa. But to your point, after the Adesanya fight, he's looked like a shell of himself. Although his last fight against Kopylov, I actually watched that last night. He looked great in that one. But I don't know, man. I think I'm going to Murzakanov. The only thing is, Paulo Costa, man, he could sweep his face, his face against him. Secret Jews. You can edit that out.
Jews gets you strong and jacked. I can't see this fight ending with Paulo Costa. Like, I can't. I can't. Like, I mean, just imagine. I'm very excited for this card. If at 12:05 a.m. Sunday morning, I've just watched Paulo Costa and Jiri get flatlined back to back, I'm gonna jump off my roof, and it's only about 12 feet, but I'm gonna go head first when I jump.
CTE, baby.
Carly's gonna lock him outside.
Earned, not good. Yeah. All right. Is that all we got on that one?
There's one more.
One more fight. That's all I got on that one. Oh my God. No. I'm excited.
I love him.
I love you so much.
Dude.
This is gonna be Like I said, I mean,
Bushido
honestly, the
master.
one in the bottom left there, just the meme where it's like practice good defense. Yuri just hands down getting jabbed in the face.
Dude, the guy's an animal. Like
He is
you guys have watched it.
yes.
One of the notes I had on here is it almost looks like with every shot that like lands, he just gets more excited. Like
Well, that's
mean,
literally
yeah,
the
yeah.
meme is like, yeah, it's Yuri, like he's a mythical fighter, punched in the face 20 times. Yuri
one
is a
of the
mythical
one of
fighter.
the first YouTube comments was like, "This is the type of dude you used to see charging for a raid towards your village back in the day."
Yeah, actually, though, that's well said.
Well
Yeah,
spoken.
he is a
Well spoken.
Bushido practitioner.
Yep.
He was the former light heavyweight champion. He had a shoulder injury, so he did what I think was pretty noble. He immediately vacated the belt. You know, very timely considering what just went down at heavyweight with John Jones holding onto the belt for a year and a half without fighting. He immediately vacated. That's when Jamal Hill took over. He beat Glover Teixeira, and that's when that famous video of Yuri, "I am coming, I am coming." That was in response to Jiri. He was congratulating him on a victory, or to Jamal Hill, congratulating him on a victory. Then, of course, Hill gets knocked out by Pereira. Pereira beats Jiri. And no, sorry. Pereira beat Jiri before Hill, because Hill was playing basketball with DC and like tore his Achilles tendon. So then
Oh,
vacant light heavyweight title fight between Jiri and Pereira. Alex Pereira got it done. Then he beats Jamal Hill. Then they rematch and he knocks out Jiri again. But unless your name is Alex Pereira, you're not beating Jiri. That's what the record has shown. This Carlos Ulberg guy used to be a male dancer. That's where he got his name
did see
Blackjack
that.
from. Yeah.
You
So,
know,
well, Magic
good for
Mike.
him. Good
Yeah.
for him.
I
I'd
mean, he's a
watch.
good-looking guy.
I'd
He's a
watch it.
good-looking guy.
I'd watch
People
it.
were saying he looked a little puffy this week. Like people were saying, I
All right.
saw a comparison between his last fight week against Reyes and this week, and he does look a little. I don't. Maybe he's having a rough
Okay,
weight
no,
cut. We'll
hold
see.
on. Stop. No, if we're gonna look at this guy and say he looks a little bloated with looking like that, then that's how you develop eating disorders out here. Come on now.
Well, the
I mean,
picture
he
was a
looks
little
like
bit
me
different.
if I had
Oh,
smaller
was it?
shoulders,
Okay.
Tyler.
What?
No,
He looks like me if I had smaller shoulders.
Well, you know what, Kevin, you look great, but you could stand to lose some weight. So
Yeah, I will say Coors Light tastes horrible. I hope they don't ever try to sponsor us. All right.
That's great. Wait. Let me take the mic for 1 second. After watching these two guys, like in their like different fighting styles, I've come up with this scenario. Let me step back and paint the picture for you, gentlemen. One thing I noticed about Mr. Carlos Ulberg is that he doesn't really move his head around and get those feints in. You know what I mean? He kind of just, if he wants to dodge, the way he dodges is he'll like do his dancing and like step back away from you. You know what I mean? He doesn't like to keep it up too close. And he's a lot of a bobbing and weaving kind of guy. The one thing that I did have to look at, he's only got that one loss. Keep in mind, this is like almost like a backyard, like UFC fight with how long ago this was that I have to watch. It was against, let me pull it up here. It was Nzechukwu?
Kennedy something. Yeah,
Kennedy. That's
I don't
what
know how to say his last name.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking of Kennedy from earlier. I know it was from 5 years ago, but the one thing that he was able to do well to keep Ulberg back was he was able to hold up his nicely with his defenses and keep it in close, kind of forcing him to come in, Ulberg, that is. And then because Ulberg, you know, wasn't like moving his head and getting out of the way, a couple of nice, clean, in close quarters hits right to the face. Okay. Now let's contrast what I just said about the not moving the head back and forth and not doing the feints when you're in close quarters. Now you got Mr. Jiri. And what I noticed is he's a guy who will just dart at the guy head first. Again, kind of like what we were talking about with that Liebor versus Cub fight. Just zero regard for the pain. And I think that on paper, Mr. Ulberg would be able to just like effectively get away like from something like that because that's where his sweet spot is. But now let's talk about something else, fellas. Mr. Jiri's reach of 80 inches. Okay. So in that kind of scenario, when the diving is going to happen, I could see Jiri if seeing a step back being had and just falling forward, like trying to get a nice clean hook in. At the same time, you got Mr. Carlos Ulberg, who's going to come right at those long exposed ribs of Jiri in that close quarter. So what it's really going to come down to in my mind is in that split second scenario, who's able to land a cleaner, harder hit.
I like that analysis, like if it comes down to, like slow motion, like who can say
Yep, that's
the
exactly where my head was.
and just somebody gets that would be but I do think you're right. I mean, Jiri gets hit. The reason why he lost to Pereira is because Pereira hits hard enough to take his
Yes.
lights out. Evidently, Jamal Hill and Cleo Roundtree did not, and that's
And
why he was able to
Rockage.
stay in. And Rockage,
Yes.
Dominick Reyes too. Like they did not have the touch of death. So I think one, it comes down to does Ulberg have that touch of death, and he does have power, but does he have the power that is needed to take Jiri out? Then two, I know the meme is that like Jiri has to get punched in the face and then he finally turns it back on. But another thing, from that Roundtree fight, it wasn't just that he was getting punched in the face. It was when he finally landed something. Like he needs to be able to land something good. Almost like that, it takes his range from 0 to 100 to where like he can't hit the guy, then finally connects and just like light switches go off in his head and he knows what he's going to do. So I think Ulberg either, plan A would be he has that punch of death and he gets Jiri out of there in the first round. Plan B, a lot harder, but you just have to keep being light on your feet. Don't get tired. Don't get caught by Jiri because it might not put you out, but the second he connects and he finds that range, it's just a matter of time before he's going to just wear you down and get that knockout like he did against Roundtree.
Yep.
Yeah. I think both of you have a great analysis of the fight. Again, I know I've said it before on this very podcast, but I think this is another coin flip. Like it could go so many different ways. And yeah, like you made a good point, Tyler. I think Carlos Ulberg is very light on his feet. He's very fast. Has a very measured and controlled fighting style. Those city kickboxing guys, they're quick, they're technical, they have great feints, leg kicks. We know Jiri is susceptible to leg kicks. The thing is, Kevin, you made a good point yourself, where if Prochazka hurts you and he smells blood, he's like a shark. He's coming and it's like an avalanche. And if you can't stop him and if you get overwhelmed by that pressure, it's over. And so we haven't really seen Ulberg get tested in the UFC. Like obviously he lost to Kennedy. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I don't want to say that was a fluke, but he got caught. Like he just got caught with one shot and then he got TKO'd. But apart from that, he's looked almost flawless. So let's see how he handles the pressure of Prochazka. If he's going to pick off Prochazka from, if he's going to pick him apart, I think he can get the finish. But if Jiri, like you said, if he gets him hurt, I think it's going to be really hard for Ulberg to get the finish.
Let's all. I think we're all on the same page. Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, Karan, just say the name.
Jiri.
Jiri. Even though Ulberg and City Kickboxing, they could use a big win. They've had a rough between Dan Hooker and Israel Adesanya. They have had been rough for
it's been bad
for the boys at CKG or CKB.
EKG.
CKB, City Kickboxing.
AGB.
Yeah, I think Jiri gets it done. Man, I'll be the BMF card a month ago. I got so excited for that, and at the end of the night, I was a little disappointed, a little let down. Man, this one seems like it can't not deliver.
Right.
And I'm gonna try to say Ulberg knocks him out. That still delivers. That's still exciting. I'm gonna not be upset. I just don't want to see boring fights, especially in the main events of pay-per-views. And I can't see this ending like that. So,
dude, I'm looking forward to this card. I really am.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, I guess the last slide is just my predictions.
We can fill this out, and I'll tweet it out. We'll shill it out to people. How does that sound, Kevin? Would that be good, Kevin?
We say that all the time.
Are you good with that, Kevin? Does that work for you, Kevin? Whatever you like, Kevin. I'll do it for you, Kevin.
This is a tough card, man, to bet on.
It is.
Yeah.
But
all the underdogs I picked were kind of just like homer picks, you know? So, like,
I'm still
I don't
looking
really
at this, and I'm still Swanson versus Landwehr is going to be so much fun, man.
This is a
Yeah.
great card.
It
Great
is.
card.
It is great.
To your point, Kevin, I really do hope it delivers because, yeah, the last few UFC cards, honestly, for like the last year, kind of been ass.
We haven't, yeah, I mean, I know this probably wasn't great for you, like when Pereira knocked out Izzy the first time, but then when Izzy knocked out Pereira, or like when Usman got head kicked, like there
Yeah,
hasn't been the Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje, there hasn't been one of those moments in a while, you know. That's why I think Alexa Grasso getting that crazy KO into a submission against Macy Barber 2 weeks ago hit so hard, because it just been a while since we've had like a fight with meaning and weight behind it and in spectacular fashions. I'm hoping we break that streak. We're due up. All right.
agreed.
Boys,
Good
Folks,
stuff.
there's zero chance that anybody sat through the entire episode, but if you are just watching one of the clips, or if you are just catching us on shorts, remember to like and subscribe. We're going to continue with this UFC content, and we got some more stuff coming on your guys' way, especially when it comes down to the NFL draft coming up here in the next couple of weeks, and then football. All right.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, what do I